Hello, everyone, and welcome to BodyBags. I'll be your reviewer for today. I'm Lonnie from Tats, and yeah, I think you've already known from this past week. It's a theme week, and we're doing vis-a-vis. And the one that I decided to go with is this is going to sound kind of crazy, but I'm going to be talking about four movies. Okay, and the four that I'm going to be talking about doing comparisons on, we're going to have from 1956. We have Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the original. We have the, what year did this come out? 1978 remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Okay. From 1992, we have Abel Ferrara's Body Snatchers. And then, what year did this one come out? 2007, we have The Invasion. Okay. Now, what do all four of these movies have in common? Well, they're all based on Jack Finney's novel, The Body Snatchers. Now, back when the original movie, Invasion of the Body Snatchers was getting ready to be made, now the book. By the way, first of all, I just really want to recommend to you, if you never read the book Body Snatchers, I would honestly recommend, yeah, definitely give it a read. Because I remember here a while back, when I first read the book, that book really gave me the creeps. It was really unsettling. I will say though, the book kind of in the climax, the book kind of falls apart a little bit, but everything leading up to it, it's really good. It's a really good book. It kind of gets you thinking, kind of gets under your skin. So yeah, I would definitely say, yeah, if you ever have a chance, read the book, listen to the audiobook, something like that. But yeah, I highly recommend it. So they got ready. They were going to do the movie version of the book, and the problem was there was already a movie called The Body Snatcher with Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff. And so they kind of needed, well, we can't call it The Body Snatcher. What can we do? So, they changed the title to Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And this movie it's a very close adaptation of the book. And that's one of the reasons why I really enjoy this movie. It's really well done. The ending of the movie is different from the ending of the book, which I think the ending of the movie is better than the ending of the book. It's just because, like at the end of the book, I'm not going to give it away, but just kind of seems like things kind of get wrapped up a little too neatly and stuff. Whereas like the movie, like the ending of the movie feels like a much more logical conclusion. That it's like there's a possibility they could stop the invasion, but it's not for certain. It's like it's all up in the air. Like anything could happen. And that makes a lot more sense. And so I do really enjoy the ending of the book more, or the ending of the movie more. Another thing is though too. I mean, well, we all know the story, okay? The story, about these pod or these kind of like alien seeds that come from outer space, and they take root in a farmer's field and they produce pods, and inside the pods, what ends up happening is it produces alien replicas of us, people, animals, everything else, and then while the pods are growing, the pod people are growing. Then while that's going on, while we sleep, pretty much we are being taken over, and we're pretty much, just kind of, absorbed and just kind of end up being nothing. We go away, and then these pod people come, and then the thing about the pod people are that they're all the same. There's no emotion. Everybody, thinks the same. Everybody, acts the same. Everybody has the same point of view. And, the thing is, what makes it, one of the things that's really scary about this story, I think it really preys on a lot of people's minds, is the idea of the loss of identity. You would be taken over by something, and, they're, like all your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, there would be none of that anymore. It's like it would be so soulless. It'd be so just nothing. And all your humanity, all your love, and the things that you find funny, everything that makes you a human being, what makes you unique as a person would be gone. You know. Now that being said, though, it's like the other night I put up my my kind of like my home theater set up here, and I watched John Carpenter's The Thing. Now, if I had to choose, okay, between it's like if they said, like you had to be taken over either by the pod people from Invasion of the Body Snatchers or, from the alien creature from John Carpenter's The Thing, I think I would probably go with this instead. Because, I mean, if you think about it, it's like, in this here is like all you do is it's like you go to sleep and you just kind of wink out of existence. It's almost like you just go to sleep and you just never wake up again. It's, there's no pain involved or anything like that. It's like when you watch John Carpenter's The Thing, you see somebody being taken over by the alien. It looks horrifying. It looks like, oh my God, you go through a lot of suffering. I mean, just the scene, with the sled dogs is bad enough. You see what happens to them and everything. So like, oh my God. So yeah, I think if I had to choose between, if somebody said, yeah, you're going to be, taken over by aliens, what's it going to be? This or The Thing? I think I'd probably go with this because at least this, it's like, okay, I just go to sleep and I just don't wake up again. And then whatever replaces me is like, okay, you know what? Screw you. You could deal with all the problems of the world. You can pay taxes and pay bills and all that kind of stuff. You can deal with all that stuff. I'm going to be blinked out of existence, so what would I care? But this movie is very well done. It looks really good in black and white. You have a really good cast in this movie. You have Kevin McCarthy, who I think gives a really great performance. I mean, Kevin McCarthy, like later in his career, rest his soul, but later in his career, a lot of the times, he ended up playing kind of the grumpy old man in like a lot of Joe Dante movies, or he would kind of play kind of an old asshole, in movies like The Howling, or he would play bad guys in movies like Inner Space or Weird Al's movie UHF, and so he kind of ended up playing kind of like a lot of mean old fart roles later on. But in this movie, he gives a great performance. He's really good. He's very likable, very kind of down to earth. He has kind of a charm to him. He's very personable and everything. Like his character is as a doctor, and it's like he is the kind of guy like you would want this guy to be your medical doctor. You'd want him to be your physician. Because he cares about people. He cares about his patients and everything else. And, so it's like his loss of identity and his, everything else is too much for him to bear. That's why he can't go to sleep, and he can't let these things take him over. It's like his humanity means too much to him. His whole, his whole thing about being a doctor is because he has a very, strong humanity, a very strong moral center and things like that. And, so it's like, yeah, to him, his humanity means too much for him to lose it. And, the fact that, this character of Becky Driscoll, who that he's in, he loves her and she's the love of his life, and he got divorced from his wife, she got divorced from her husband, and like he would love nothing more than to be with her for the rest of his life, and the two of them to have a future together. So so it's like for these characters, there's a lot at stake here, and you also have wasn't King Donovan is in this, and Carolyn Jones. You have Morticia from the Addams Family. And this is a very good, like I said, this is probably about as close of an adaptation to the book as you're going to get. It's very, very, very close to the book. And but like I said, just the ending is different. So there you go. Now we're going to move on to the 1978 version of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Now this movie, this movie is definitely different. You have Miles, played by Donald Sutherland. And he's a doctor, and Brooke Adams is she's a doctor. She works with him, and so it's almost kind of what makes this movie work. And in some ways, like this movie is an advancement in terms of I wouldn't say it's so much an advancement in terms of story, but it is an advancement in the fact that the remake had a bigger budget. The remake had some really good special effects to play around with. There is, like for example, you get the dog with like a human head on it and everything else, and it's just, the remake is incredibly well done. So, I mean, I think, yeah, I could kind of understand why some people would actually prefer this over the original, because it's a bigger scope, more special effects, things like that. Do I prefer this over the original? Honestly, not really. I mean, I do enjoy this. It's a really good remake. This movie did what any good remake should do. See, but here's the problem, though. I mean, this now, okay, there have been instances where they remake a movie, and the whole point of the remake is to do a version that was closer to the book because the original version was like too far away from the book. Well, you don't have that problem with this version. So the thing about this version is, what I like about what they did with it is they took elements from. They say, well, we can't really just adapt the book again. That's been done. So, but what we can do is we can take elements from the book. We could take the whole idea of the pod people. We could take, we could take the, we could open up to a bigger scale. Big, instead of a small town, we could do it in a big city. Everything else. We could add more special effects. We could do, special effects at advancing. So we could do more than what they were able to do in '56. And so, this movie does what really a good remake should do, is to take elements of it and kind of make it, kind of keep in the spirit of it, kind of, but make it their own. And like I said, but even though I may not prefer this one to the original, I still think it's a really well done film. It's definitely one of the better remakes. You have a great cast in this movie. I mean, just pretty much an all-star cast if you think of it. Donald Sutherland, Brooke Adams, Leonard Nimoy, Jeff Goldblum, Veronica Cartwright. This movie has everything going for it. This is a really good remake. It's just, only in my case, it's because I read the book. Before I saw this version, I read the book, I saw the old version and everything. So it's just, I kind of prefer this one over this one. But this is a very good film. It's a really good remake. And, that's kind of it. You wish like more remakes could be done like this. It's like, if you can't, it's like, okay, well, you can't really adapt the book because that's already been done. But just kind of take the elements of it and kind of tell your own story with it and keep it in the spirit of it. And just, yeah. So I definitely recommend the Invasion of the Body Snatchers from '78. Maybe just not as much as the original, but still. Very, very good film. And just really good special effects. Great performances by everybody in this movie. And just, I really do. I dig this, So, sorry. Throat's a little dry. Now we're going to move on to 1972's Body Snatchers, directed by Abel Ferrara. And this is interesting, okay, because the screenplay, written by Stuart Gordon, the late great Stuart Gordon, we all know Reanimator, From Beyond, Dolls, Castle Freak, etc., etc. And his co-writer, Des Paoli. And I'm pretty sure once Abel Ferrara came on to direct the project, the other screenwriter is Nicholas St. John. Now, Nicholas St. John has written a number of Ferrara's films, including like Miss 45 and Driller Killer. And so, I'm sure he brought Nicholas St. John in, because he's like, yeah, I want this, and had him polish up the script and everything. However, the screen story was co-written by the late great Larry Cohen. So you got some good masters of horror, heavy hitters behind the camera, working on the story and everything. And this version here, it's a little weak compared to these two. Okay? It's a little bit weak, but you know what? It's still a really good film. It's entertaining, and again, it does kind of like what the remake did. It's like, okay, we can't really adapt the book, but the thing what's great about this story is that, you can sit there, you can take the elements of the book, the pod people and everything, and you can kind of apply it to situations all over the world. Because, in all these stories, when, the invasion starts to come and everything, it happens all over the world. It's not just, usually like in the original movie, it started in the small town, I think it was Santa Mira. It starts there, but then it spreads out, and it starts to grow and everything. And, that's the thing, it's like, that's kind of how you could continue to make movies based off this storyline, is you can like this, for instance, in this version, the story takes place in an army base. And, you have this young girl play, what was the actress's name? Gabrielle Anwar. You have her stepmother, played by Meg Tilly. Forrest Whitaker is in this movie. They move to this army base, and then things are kind of seeming a little weird, but then they start to get weirder, and then you realize, like, okay, the pods are on this army base. The soldiers are starting to be taken over. She starts to notice that her family is acting weird, all this other kind of stuff. She has she's got a little brother she wants to protect and everything else. And there you go. It's like, you can come up with a really good story using just this premise and everything. And I think that was a wise decision. Now, I would say, like I said, Body Snatchers may not be as good as the original two, but still, it's like, it is good in the sense that, yeah, you could take the elements of it and you can apply it to anything. You can apply it to a number of locations, or, you could kind of you can add some other situations to it and everything. And I think that Body Snatchers definitely works, and I do think it is a worthy film. It's got some really good, again, too, you have some really good special effects. Does it say who did the effects here? No, unfortunately it doesn't. But anyway, though, it's like, yeah, you definitely get some good effects in this movie, too. And it's kind of a surprise from Abel Ferrara that he directed this movie. This probably got to be one of, if not the most commercial films he's ever done, because, like, Abel Ferrara is he's not really known for, like, commercial type films. He's more known for, like, kind of art house meets exploitation kind of films. That's kind of more his style. And yeah, this movie doesn't even, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but when I watch this movie, it doesn't even feel like one of his movies. It feels so removed from anything else that Ferrara has ever done. But even still, I would say give it a shot. It is a good movie. It's well done. And, it's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of like, it is a good companion piece with these other two, because it's like, yeah, I like the idea that, you could take, I know I keep saying this. I know I'm starting to sound like a broken record, but I like that idea of, you could take the situation, kind of the basic storyline, you can apply it to a number of locations and situations and everything. And so that's what they've been doing. Now we're going to come to the weakest of the bunch, and that is The Invasion with Nicole Kidman and Daniel Craig. This here, yeah, this is definitely the weakest one. It's not horrible, but I mean, it still is kind of the same premise and everything. But again, it's like this one takes place in Washington, D.C., and you have Nicole Kidman, and Daniel Craig, and they start to realize, like, people are starting to act weird, and yeah, people going to sleep, and then you get the idea. You already know where it's going with it, and then like Nicole Kidman, she's got to try to, she's got to try to save her child, and she's got to fight the alien force and try to figure out how she's gonna stop it, and it's like at the end of the movie, you're not really sure. Does she stop it? Could they possibly still be around? And on and on. But yeah, this movie is definitely the weakest one. There's really no, like, one of the things, kind of like that really hurt this movie is, like, this one here, you had some okay special effects. I mean, suitable for what there was in the 1950s. This one here, much better advances in special effects. They could do more with the pods and the pod people and things like that. Create some interesting things. Like I said, you got the dog with, like, the human face on it, things like that. So there you go. This one here, more advances in special effects. And I think, if I'm trying to remember right, I think even, like, in this here, like, even the pods, like, they shoot out kind of like tentacle type things, and everything else. So it's like, here you go, it's like, so each of these movies, gradually the special effects get better, and then you come to this movie, which is PG-13, really no special effects at all. And it's kind of really bland, not much to it. And, I like Nicole Kidman as an actress, and Daniel Craig, I got no problems with him. But just this one here compared to these three, this one is definitely weak sauce. And this is kind of one that's like, you kind of watch it once, you just be like, you know what? There are three other better options to choose from. So yeah, this one would definitely be the weakest one. So, but anyway, so yeah, I kind of rambled on way too long. Excuse me. But we are talking about 4 movies, though. So yeah. I would definitely say, yeah, this one here definitely has to be my favorite. I highly recommend it. It's a great classic, black and white, and it still holds up. The acting is good and everything. That's kind of the thing. It's like, yeah, there's certain elements of it that are a little dated, but even still, it's a great movie. It still holds up. It keeps your interest. 80 minutes, it flies right by. There's no like dead spots or anything like this. This movie like it hits the ground running and it just keeps going. So I would definitely recommend. Yeah, the original one definitely my favorite. This one here still really good. Yeah, it's like almost beats out the original, but not quite. If I probably hadn't, like I said, if I hadn't read the book and seen the original movie first, I probably would have been like, this probably would have been my favorite because, like, yeah, the, bigger, more special effects and everything else. A lot of actors in here I really like. I mean, come on, who doesn't like Jeff Goldblum? Veronica Cartwright, obviously. Donald Sutherland. I mean, Leonard Nimoy, Spock is in this for crying out loud. So yeah, I mean, so it's like yeah. And this one here, Body Snatchers, still a really good movie, and I highly recommend it. And like I said, that's kind of the thing. I like that. The first movie was about as close an adaptation of the book as you can get, but then the other ones kind of take it and do their own thing. So yeah, I really dig that, and I'd like to see more stories done that way. So, but anyway, so that's going to do it. So here we go, another long video as always. But so if anybody took the time to watch all this, I thank you for doing it. I appreciate you for doing it. I honestly hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave it a like. If you haven't already, go and subscribe to the BodyBags channel. We have a different reviewer, one for every day of the week. I'm the Saturday reviewer. We have great guys. Everybody's always doing great stuff. Lots of fun, and there's more to come. So everybody take care. Have a good night, and I'll see you later.